Hello, my name is Emma, and I am one of the friends who watched every single Madea movie in the month of May. Why? Because why not, I guess? Actually, I watched them all for content, friendship, and of course, Madea. Considering I'm now basically a Madea expert and have opinions, let's review Madea Goes to Jail. If for some reason you don't want to have Madea Goes to Jail be spoiled for you, then you should stop watching. However, I'm assuming you are watching this video so you don't have to watch Madea Goes to Jail. Just like the title, we watch them all so you don't have to. Madea Goes to Jail is the third movie in the Madea franchise. This movie particularly sticks out because this movie was a real shift in the Madea-verse compared to the previous two movies. How is it different, you may ask? Well, let's get into the plot first. The movie starts out with Madea in a high-speed chase with the cops and ends up attacking them. Madea is then in court with a friendly judge, Maybelline, who Madea has been able to talk her way out of crimes before in previous movies. Madea was able to get out of jail because the police officers didn't read her Miranda rights. Madea? Out of jail at the start of the movie? Yeah, okay. However, because Madea has been in court too many times to count, the judge revokes Medea's driver license and forces Madea to sign up for an anger management course. After the trial, Madea goes home where Joe is hosting a party, obviously pre-celebrating Madea going to jail, where he claims it was just to cheer Madea up. Madea tries to keep it together, but ends up using a machine gun to get everyone to leave the house. Aamir told me not to say, "Oh Madea," but this is totally an "Oh Madea" moment. This scene sets the movie off into a series of scenes that highlight Medea's anger problem, as if we already didn't know that from previous movies. Medea's daughter Cora takes Madea to her first anger management session, which is led by the one and only Dr. Phil. Madea doesn't listen to Dr. Phil, and every question he asks her, she asks the same one back to him. It's a really weird back and forth dynamic. It's obvious that the scene is mostly improv, and they even highlight some of the bad improv takes in the credits. I wonder if Dr. Phil regrets this scene? He seems kind of uncomfortable and very out of place. Anyways, Madea storms out because Dr. Phil says she can't be helped, but we already knew that. Later, Madea realizes that she has to go to the store, but cannot because she lost her license. She calls Cora, explains the situation, and gets very upset when Cora says no, because she's having her, quote, me time at the salon. Madea doesn't understand the concept and tries to harass her daughter for it, saying how she never had any, quote, me time when raising Cora. Madea gives up on Cora and decides to break the law by driving to Kmart herself. In the Kmart parking lot, Madea is driving really slowly looking for a parking spot and ignores the car behind her honking and yelling at her. The red convertible car cuts her off. Madea and the tennis preppy lady argue a little. Madea almost drives into the store, but then in classic Madea fashion, Madea uses a conveniently placed forklift to move the car by dropping it from the forklift, destroying the entire thing. The tennis lady has a weird fit, great acting, and then is like, my husband is a police officer and is on his way right now. But she hasn't even called him yet? And Madea then delivers her infamous line. Wow, now that's what I call writing. Also, look at that body roll over the car. Who knew Madea was so flexible? And this, folks, is in my top 10 Madea moments. Also, Madea didn't even get her groceries, and I find it weird that the entire store just ran outside to watch this. Madea finally goes to court again, this time with a new judge, one whom Madea can't try to charm her way out of. Oh boy, it's time! Oh my god, it's the title of the movie! Madea Goes to Jail! While Madea is sorting out her anger management issues, now in jail, it's side plot time, or main plot, because this movie has a hard time distinguishing between the two. Ooh! We are introduced to Assistant District Attorney Josh, who is prosecuting a young prostitute and drug addict, Candy. Josh and Candy already know each other, so he asks his fiancée Linda to help her in court. Things start to get sticky as Josh starts obsessing over Candy. No pun intended. He gives her his phone number, takes her out to breakfast, tries to find her old family members instead of planning his own wedding, and even takes Candy in a few times, as in, let her sleep on his sofa. This makes Linda, Josh's fiancée, very upset. She talks to Josh about how he shouldn't help her out, that she can't be helped because she's a prostitute, and accuses Josh of cheating and leaves. Ouch. Candy even at one point says that she can see Josh and Linda aren't good for each other, which is kind of a bold statement to say to someone who is letting you sleep on their sofa. There also is this person named Ellen. No, not that Ellen. This Ellen is an ex-prostitute who helps take women off the street, and she helps Candy out a few times and her friends. Ellen offhandedly asks Josh why he cares so much about Candy. Josh starts crying, elaborating how he was close friends with Candy because no one else really liked her, and left her at a party while all his friends raped her. That's heavy. He has always felt guilty over this, and therefore has tried to do everything he can to help her. Back at the district attorney office, Josh's friend Chuck catches Lisa falsifying Candy's court file to ensure she gets into jail, away from Josh. Because of this, Candy goes to jail. The plot lines have successfully converged. Madea and Candy are now both in jail. In prison, Madea and Candy become friends. What? No way, it's almost like it's meant to be. Befriend their cellmates, TT and Donna, and do just jail things, JJT, like attack the main prisoner Big Cell, listen to Ellen, yes, the person from before, and how to forgive people, and of course, have a classic Tyler Perry montage, because that's storytelling, right? Josh has been trying to contact and visit Candy, who kept refusing, and she eventually agrees. Josh visits Candy, they talk, Candy finally forgives Josh and is ready to change her life. Josh still hasn't called off the wedding. Chuck confesses to Josh about the crime Linda committed right before the wedding happens. Talk about last-minute timing. Chuck should have definitely told Josh sooner, but okay. Josh at the wedding tells everyone about the crimes Lisa has done, and oh, look how convenient. The district attorney, Josh and Lisa's boss, is already at the wedding to arrest Lisa. Josh then leaves to go see, you guessed it, Candy, and is like, actually, I love you. After this happens, wow, montage number 2, baby! Everyone is protesting for Madea, Candy, etc. to get out of jail because Lisa falsely prosecuted them. The prisoner's sentence gets overturned, and the movie ends with Madea, Candy, and Josh walking out of the prison together. Josh and Candy share a little kiss. Boom, movie's over. Now what? Let's discuss. Compared to the other Madea movies before it, Madea Goes to Jail felt like a real movie for once. The movie took itself much more seriously than the previous ones by having no weird title sequence, the sound design was much better so that it didn't take away from scenes, and the most important aspect that made the film stick out so much was the cinematography. The film was such a step up from the previous films. Why? The budget for this movie was insane compared to the other two before it. Diary of a Mad Black Woman had a budget of $5.5 million, Madea's Family Reunion had a budget of $6 million, and Madea Goes to Jail had a whopping budget of $17.5 million. The Madea franchise finally had enough money to start focusing on production quality, which paid off. The best visually shot scene in the entire movie is when Candy gets taken by a pimp. Candy runs away, calls Josh, and Josh comes and rescues her in his car. It's nighttime, it's raining, the streetlights look amazing. Even when they go home and the shadows from the windows are cast on Josh and Candy's face are fantastic. Mwah! Doing lighting like this is impressive and it looks incredible. It's such a step up compared to the previous movies. This can be thanked by the work of Alexander, I don't know how to pronounce that, Aamir please put the name up on screen, the director of photography who stayed on the Madea team for Madea's Witness Protection and Madea's Christmas. However, with the massive budget increase, Tyler Perry started hiring lots of well-known celebrities to be in his movies. From Dr. Phil, Whoopi Goldberg, Steve Harvey, and more, it's clear that a lot of this budget was invested into this name brand cast. This trend definitely continues throughout the movies to come. Is this a bad thing? Well, no, not necessarily. It can just become a problem if Tyler Perry continually invests too much into the cast and not enough in production quality or writing, for example. Is this foreshadowing? Yes, I'm looking at you, Boo-Too. Speaking of writing, this movie is obviously not perfect. It's important to note that the way I structured the plot overview is not how the movie is structured at all. Madea's plot is constantly being cut in between Candy's plot. It created this really weird dynamic by mixing these dramatic, intense, emotional scenes with ones of comic relief Madea. It makes the film feel tone-deaf, especially when you talk about stories of abuse and rape and then cut back to Madea being wacky. The movie doesn't want to take these issues seriously. It's weird, but after you watch every Madea movie, you realize that this is just the way Tyler Perry writes his movies. The mixing of drama, comedy, romance is always seen throughout his work. He is his own genre. The movie is super tropey, predictable, and suffers from heavy-handed writing though. The whole show-don't-tell aspect of writing, Tyler Perry clearly doesn't understand. Lisa's lines are always, I'm a bad person, and she doesn't have any character development as the villain of the movie. Her lines are sharp, to the T, and just don't work well. It's important to also know that the first few movies, this one included, were first a play written by Tyler Perry too. That might explain some of the weird plot and storytelling techniques he uses, but it doesn't excuse him from it being bad. The mixing of scenes takes away from the movie because the plots and characters are not converged at the end together well. Also, the ending is wrapped up too quickly, leaving viewers unsatisfied. It's hard to even tell who the main character is. The movie is named after Madea, but it isn't her movie. Madea has always been treated as a side character, but in this one she was slightly more present, which was nice to see. It's just not good. Overall, Madea Goes to Jail excels in its step up in the form of overall production quality, specifically with lighting and cinematography, but falls short in its mixture of tone, plots, and bad writing that make it hard for me to consider Madea Goes to Jail a good movie. But it is a movie, and I'll give it that. Thank you for watching! What did you think of Madea Goes to Jail? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let's hear it in the comments down below! Also, be sure to check out our other Madea reviews. Anyways, I'm Emma, and that's Madea. The rest is up to Madea.